But if you are watching and you find some value in that, then that makes me happy, because that's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to change the world. I'm not trying to, do anything, but I'm just trying to tell my story, and that's all, and share my passions. And tomorrow, I'm going to have another fun video that I might live stream. Right now, it's little crickets, maybe, but, we'll see what happens. But I want to tell you this, all right? So I never spent too much time camping, right? I was never I was outdoorsy, but I always wished I could be more active than I was. I would see people, going out in their Jeeps, off-roading, 4x4 and all that, and I drive a Prius, and I'm like, well, I wish I could do that, but my car can't handle that. And I would tell myself, oh man, I would wish to go camping, but I don't have anybody who wants to go with me because, schedules, I moved out to the Mojave, most of my friends didn't. So I'm like, it's one of those. And I got to a mindset probably about 5 years ago where I told myself, just because you're alone doesn't mean that you shouldn't go on these trips by yourself. Sure, it would be nice to have people. Sure, it would be pleasant. But, our schedules didn't align. Most of my friends now, they have families, a wife and kid. Which is great. I'm, a little different because I'm still enjoying living my life. And I want to have these adventures, and I want to go explore, and I want to do all these things. And if I had a family, I couldn't do that, and I shouldn't. So I look at, my passions, and my passions at this stage in my life don't align with me having a family, which is fine. But that's why I started doing YouTube, because I like bringing people along. If they're not with me, I want them to see it, so I enjoy doing that. Now I am going to backpedal a little bit. 5 years ago, so that was my mantra then. I still wasn't that brave. It took me to 2020, May 2020, where I first solo camped out in the middle of the Mojave Desert, all alone, by myself, no provisions, no flashlight, nothing. I just, I bare bones. I enjoyed that experience, and I'm like, wow, this was kind of fun. So then, time progresses a little bit. I didn't get into it that deep, but I'm going out to the desert more and more and more and more, because at this point I just moved back from the desert back to Orange County. But I find myself always being in the desert. I find myself always being in nature with some really, really good people who have the same passions for the backcountry outdoors. And that was the key thing too, because I really enjoyed being like Joshua Tree National Park. I love it out there. It's very busy though. That's the thing. I find myself now enjoying the Mojave National Preserve, which doesn't have nearly, only a fraction of the visitors, and even to me, it's too busy during, at prime time. And compared to Joshua Tree, it's not even close. I have my mailbox in Death Valley. That's where my mail goes. So if anyone's interested, and if you send a letter, like I tell everybody, if you just address it, Desert Geno, Death Valley, California, 92328, that's all you need. It'll go out there. I'll get in my mailbox. There's not that many people that live out there, and if you send it, it's going to show up to me. Now, I spent a lot of time, as I mentioned, in the desert, and I pretty much covered every single desert city in the Mojave Desert. I haven't spent that much time in the Great Basin Desert or the Chihuahuan Desert, or the Painted Desert, but in time. Well, actually, not the Painted Desert. I'm not going to go there. But the Great Basin, sure, and probably not the Chihuahuan either, but maybe in time. But so recently, I would say within the last year, I got addicted to solo camping out in the Mojave Desert. And a lot of people go, I don't come across as the type of person that one would expect to see camping alone in a very remote part of the desert where A, there's no cell coverage, there's no radio reception. You're out there. You are like literally out there. All right? Yeah, and that's a loud car too. Out in the Mojave, everyone has to have a loud car. Not me. But anyway, so I strongly encourage you, maybe take a look at my one camping video where, I did that. And a lot of my other passions are I have my road bike. Every morning I used to have this tradition of cycling about 25 miles every morning. Health and fitness is very important to me. Eating, a very healthy diet, that's important. Being your body is your temple as well. That everyone, you've heard that phrase, but I'm very health conscientious. I don't really try and abuse my body. But if you do, that's fine too. I don't hold judgment nor grudges. So, if you want to do whatever you want, that's your life, your body, and nobody should tell anybody how to live their life. And I strongly believe in that because, we're all our own person, and what's right for some may not be right for others. Now, I got addicted to solo camping, and that's kind of where I am right now. It's, what is it? November 29th? Should have known that, but I had like a little brain fade. It's November 29th, and the weather is very permitting for camping. In fact, it's very cold in some parts of the Mojave Desert, like a hole-in-the-wall campground. That's a favorite spot of mine, or out at the Kelso Dunes, or there's just a lot of great places. It's probably a little too cold right now tonight in Sema, California, where there is a dense Joshua tree forest, and I did a video on that as well. But yeah, there's a lot of great parts of the desert. And that's kind of where I'm at, and I'm getting close to ending the video. If any potential viewers in the future watch the video entirely, I'm kind of getting to a point. And my point is this. I have a lot of stories to tell. Maybe, it might not be that interesting. Maybe it might be. But that's the thing. I would like to take you on my journey. I'd like to, tell my story to you. I would like for you to have some of my experiences, not all of them, because I don't want some of them right now. And I'm going to be opening up about that in the future, okay? Because even though, life is good for me, I have no worries, in a lot of different aspects, but in some ways I am completely scared and terrified. So, we all have, our problems. That's life, whether it's, a family member, financial situations, work, whatever. We all have something, and it could be a combination of both as well. But right now I got my own perfect storm. But that's how it is right now, but we'll see how it pans out. But all I have to say is this. I hope you find interest in my channel. I hope you continue to want to go on my journeys with me. I'm still kind of in this phase, trying to figure out, exactly what to do with my channel. But I decided, just be yourself. Just be yourself. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to be myself. And I want to take you with me on our desert adventures. I want to show you some cool stuff. And, there's a few other YouTube channels out there as well that I find interest in. And I, I find a lot of interest in storytelling, history, nature, finance, all sorts of stuff. I'm a avid reader of the Wall Street Journal. I read it cover to cover every morning. I have different hobbies than a lot of people and a lot of different stories. One story, when I was in Palm Desert, and I'm not going to get into it too much, my grandparents' next door neighbor retired, but he ran a $60 billion company. Yeah, he was the CEO, and I'll get into detail with that in a different video. But so far in my short experience with life, I've had just crazy stories, crazy experiences, crazy adventures. And that's kind of why I wanted to do this YouTube channel, because, it's not only is it fun sharing, it's also fun looking back on it too. It's also fun going, hey, this was a fun time, and, I had a lot of fun. And I'm kind of being a little greedy in a way too, because I like making these videos. That way it's, like my little time capsule looking back at, the things I've done over time. But I want to say this, and this is all I have to say. Please, if you like the desert, if you like some fun stories, if you just like, maybe, if the live streaming, works out well, I'd like to, speak with different people. Maybe you're in a different part of the world. Maybe you're completely on the other side of the world. That's interesting. I would really like to, experience that. I would really like to experience people who have a complete and unique perspective. I have my own story, but you have your own story as well. And that's what I find interest in, because whenever I'm cruising, around the Mojave, I like to go to these small, little, desolate towns that, most people don't drive through because it's so much out of the way. And I like to stop and I like to speak with the people that live there. And I like to understand their perspective. Like this one man who lives in Shoshone, California. And I'm like, you live here? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, where do you get groceries? Well, he has to drive to Pahrump or Vegas. And I'm like, wow, how long have you lived here? I wanted to know his story. Was he weird? Absolutely. This guy was just like a cartoon. But, you don't have those experiences. It's like, you got to go out there. You got to put yourself in a situation that's very foreign. You got to, meet these types of people. And, I have a story that stayed in my mind, and that was what? 2020. So the summer of 2020. And, that stayed with me. There's so many interesting, unusual situations. Like one other thing, like I remember going out to Roy's in Amboy, California. And the first time I was there, I was in dire straits. I never went there before. I was just cruising out in the desert, and I was almost out of gas. I was like down to just like nothing. And then all of a sudden I get to Roy's and I pull up, and it's like this old school gas pump, if you're familiar with Roy's, and this guy comes out and there's nobody out there. Nobody. And I didn't have any cash on me either. Nothing. And I look at him and I'm like, do you take American Express? And a lot of places, some places don't. And I'm thinking, I'm at Roy's in Amboy, California, and all I have is my American Express. And he's like, yeah, we take it. And I'm like, whew, because I would have been in a situation. And I would have had to call up somebody and be like, here's where I am. And they're going to be like, where's Roy's? Where's Amboy? Um, well, have you heard of a place called Ludlow? Maybe, but well, you go down the 40 and then you hit Kel Baker Road, but I didn't go that way. I came from the Palm Springs area, up through 29 Palms, and then Amboy Road. But anyway, the whole thing is I have a lot of stories to tell, and I have a lot of adventures to take you on, and I hope that all of you watching, take some interest and come along on my adventures with me, because that's all I want to do. I just want to show you some beautiful backcountry, some amazing places, and maybe it might not be in the backcountry, maybe it might be in a dense city, but regardless, though, it's an adventure, and that's what life is, all right? And whether you're young or old, whether you're active or not, we all want an adventure. We all want excitement. We all want to see new places, and that is the human element. And I am no different than anybody else. I am just a regular guy who happens to do irregular stuff, and I have definitely irregular hobbies. But I'm still a normal person. I like adventure. I like seeing places. I like talking with people. If I wasn't, social or any of that, I don't think I would have a YouTube channel. I don't think I would have any desire to put myself out there if I didn't want to have a connection. And I do want to have a connection with you. I do. I want to hear everyone's story. I want to know, hey, where are you from right now? What are you doing? What are you doing right now watching Desert Geno? Are you on your lunch break or what? That's the thing, curiosity. And there's nothing wrong with that, because if we weren't curious people, we wouldn't have gone to the moon. We wouldn't want to go to Mars. We wouldn't want to put stuff in space. We wouldn't want to keep exploring the unknown. And that's what my channel is about, exploring. Going to places that I've never been, seeing things that I've never seen, and sharing it with you. Well, anyway, that has been my Friday night rant. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope you all had a blessed Thanksgiving with your family. I hope that, you had a pleasant Thanksgiving and, everything went well, and a happy feast with the turkey. I did. I had a big turkey, and it was amazing. It was great, and I love this time of the year as well, because it's about families coming together. It's about people being grateful and thankful. It's about looking at the year that has progressed and all the things that happened, good and bad. And we all make mistakes. We all do things. Life happens, and you learn from it. So if you had a bad year, you know what? Hey, there's a new year. If you had a great year, hey, that's even better. So no complaints on that. But just be thankful for what you have. Don't focus on what you don't have. Focus on what you have right now. And, that's all that matters. So anyway, everyone, thank you. I hope you enjoy my stories. I hope you're not bored. I hope, you really, just enjoyed it. And there's going to be naturally more to come, and I hope that I'm going to start putting more stuff out there. I plan on it tomorrow evening. I have a surprise for everybody. Okay, so just be on the lookout. But you're going to see some amazing desert backcountry, I can tell you that. So anyway, everyone, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for taking the time, and I hope to see you soon. And please leave a comment. If you liked it, great. If you have some stories to share, please leave it. I would love to see that. And like always, until the next time. So thank you. All right.
Bye.